Hello and good day everyone. I am Projoy Subiri from DSCP 3A and here I am again with a new video demonstrating about the DHCP and DNS configuration as our Activity 7 in ACE 40. So, without further ado, let's proceed. So, here is our local area network from the previous activity wherein we made use of static IP addressing, and in this case now we will be using a DHCP server to automatically assign the IP addresses of each of our computers and smartphone. So now let me remove the labels of the IP addresses for each of our devices since we will not be using them anymore. Okay, so let me also change the configuration of our devices, and let me set the IP configuration from static to DHCP. So it is currently requesting IP address. And you can see that the DHCP failed. It is because we have not yet configured or added a DHCP server to our local area network. And currently, a PIPA is being used, or the automatic private IP address. And later on, it will no longer use a PIPA anymore, and it will change to a DHCP address. Okay, so let me also change the configuration of the other devices. Okay, so wait, I forgot to put a label in our HTTP server. Okay, so let me add another server to the dean's office. Okay, so this will serve as our DHCP server and later on as our DNS server. And let me also assign a static IP address to this server, and I will make use of the first usable IP address, which is 172.16.0.1. Okay, and for our HTTP server, we have previously assigned a static IP address to this one, which is 172.16.0.9. Okay, so let me connect our server to the switch of the dean's office, and now I will configure, I will assign the static IP address to our server, which is 172.16.0.1, and also the subnet mask. Okay, and let me now go to the services that this server can offer. So first we have, since we have an HTTP server already, we can just turn this off. And now let's go to the DHCP and let us turn this service on and change the DNS server to the IP address of our server, which is 172.16.0.1. Okay, and as you can see here, we have the start of IP address. We're in the DHCP server will randomly generate IP addresses starting from the IP address that I am going to set here. So let's say, for example, that I am going to set this to 172.16.1.1. Okay. So in the future, if a server will be added to the local area network, the IP address of that server will be static, and the IP address that can be assigned to that server shall be lower than the starting IP address and must range from 172.16.01, which is our first usable IP address, until the 172.16.1.0, since the 172.16.1.1 is already the start for the random IP addresses that the DHCP server can assign to avoid the conflict. So let me just save this one and let me check if the IP addresses for our computers and smartphone are already configured. Okay, so as you can see, let me just refresh this one. And okay, so as you can see now that the DHCP request is successful. And let's proceed to the second computer. Okay, and let me also refresh this one, since as you can see, the current IP address does not belong to the IP addresses that the DHCP server can generate, since our start IP address is 172.16.1.1. Okay, so this IP address falls under that. So let us refresh this one. Okay, so it is now successful. Let me also check. Okay, let me refresh this also. Okay, and refresh this again, and another one. Okay, okay. Okay, and now let us go to the DNS server. Okay, so let's say, for example, that we want to call this www.ece.com. Okay, so let us go to the DNS server and put www.ece.com here, and the address will be the IP address of our HTTP server, which is 172.16.0.9. Okay, and now let me add this one to our record and turn the service on. So now let me try and browse from PC0 the URL or the DNS, which is www.ece.com, and we're expecting that this URL will load. Okay, so we have successfully configured our DNS server. So let me also check. Let me also browse from PC1. Okay. And then for PC2, okay. As you can see that the configuration of our DHCP server and DNS server are successful. Okay. Okay, so the URL, which is www.ece.com, is now accessible to all of the devices in our local area network, and the DHCP server has successfully assigned the IP addresses which falls on its range, and we can now say that we have successfully configured our DHCP and DNS server. So that would be all. Thank you for watching my video, and see you again next time.